We live?
Yeah.
We're live! Hey guys, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and this is our second live egg cutting. Give you fair warning, we are in the middle of a major storm system here, so if all my lights go out and crap, we're just going to have to work through that. But today is the day. Before we cut, there's a couple things I do want to show you. Out of this clutch, this will be Mom. See, she's starting to throw weight back on good. Really nice Mojave. Beautiful, beautiful animal. Alright, get back in there. I'll show you that really fast too. And this is Dad. Dad is what's called a mystic. You can see him right there. Really cool. Now those two things work together. They are Illic. I can never say that word. Basically they play like a super. So what we're looking for is some what they call mystic potions. We'll see if we got them. And before we do that, I do want to show you guys. The last clutch is all shed out. Look at these things. So that was when we cut live a few weeks ago. We did those. They've all shed out now. They're all doing great. So we put that back. They'll be ready for their first meal attempt actually tomorrow. So that's pretty exciting. Like always, we are going to disinfect. And while I disinfect myself, I do want to tell you that this egg cutting may not be as happy as the last egg cutting. The reason we do this is we want to share everything with you guys. We want to full disclosure of successes and failures. And I do not necessarily anticipate a 100% survival rating on this. I want to be upfront about that right away. That Mojave is a first-year mom. And with that, being a first-year mom, these eggs were lumpy from day one. They kind of fought me from day one. We have several eggs I think are going to do fine, but there's one in particular I'm pretty concerned about. So, I want to prepare you for that. My expectations are that we're not going to have 100% survival. We'll see. I can see pattern in the egg. I can see the baby developing as I've kept an eye on it, but I haven't seen much movement. And just in the last day, I've started to see a little decomposition on the egg. So I'm not anticipating that one necessarily doing well. But we're going to see. And that's also why we're cutting today. Is I haven't had one pip in this clutch yet. I haven't checked it today, so we'll see. It's about a day earlier than I'd like to cut, but I'm also a little worried about that egg, so I want to give it an exit because the egg was extremely small. And so I know that baby's going to be very weak if it does survive. And I was concerned it couldn't get itself out. So if Question Girl would hand us the clutch box, please.
Which one? Number 2?
It'll be the top left, number 2. Number 2. If we get any questions too, feel free to kind of shout them out, I guess. All right, let's take a look in here. We have anybody watching yet?
Yeah, 45.
45.
Even somebody from London tuning in.
Wow, that's pretty cool. This is the egg I'm concerned about. This is the area I'm talking about. We're going to go ahead and do it first and just get it out of the way. So hopefully we'll have the disappointment done. If there is going to be one, then get on to the good parts. And like I say, I do not anticipate this to go well.
Hey, we were asked if we could do a video of the first feeding of the baby snakes.
We might tape it, but yeah, this was not going to go well. I'm pretty much sure of that now. You can just kind of feel the egg. It's kind of started to die inside and go dry. See that? Yeah, that's going to be unfortunate.
I'm sorry.
Well, and this is part of it. This is not the happiest part of it. And in a perfect world, we'd always have a 100% success rate. But the world isn't perfect. See, that shell's kind of getting hard. And there you can see too. We're going to go and open this up a little bit so you guys can see what we're dealing with here. This was a fertile egg. Just due to size and, I never had a lot of hope for it. And there it is. There's a baby. You can tell it's not alive. Okay. Underdeveloped. Now, one thing I'll do, you guys know I hate waste. I'll actually use that embryo and I'll feed it to the gator. And I know that sounds harsh, but I'd rather that lost life go to something positive than just go to waste. So that's what we're going to do there. Okay, let's get past the sad point and hopefully get on to some happier points. Again, we're going to roll these up. And this egg feels a lot better. You can see there's fluid. That's kind of what I want to see when I cut. Let me flip those over. As far as the live feeding on the babies, we'll do it when we do an entire feed day. So we probably will not live record that because it's just a really busy day. We might do some videotaping of it. Again, I just like to cut a flap. And this egg is so... Let me get that thing picked up. There we are. Boy, this egg is not going to cooperate either, is it? Getting all goopy. And I don't want to get too much goop out of there. But, I don't know if you can see in there, not Kurt. There's a good looking baby there. I do believe that one to be alive, doing well. I don't think it's a normal. Can't tell if it's a Mojave or a Mystic yet. This is a bad part about cutting eggs. I probably got a little more fluid out of that one than I intended to. So that's 1 for 2. The prize is, of course, a Mystic Potion. That's the prize we really want. But mainly what we want is live, healthy babies. The odds will usually eventually play themselves out after several seasons. So what I care about is not how well I do on the odds, although it's always nice to do great on them. It's my success rate in hatching.
Someone tuned in and asked what causes the eggs to get wrinkly.
Hold on, I'll talk about it. Look in there. That's definitely not a normal. We're looking at the belly, so I can't tell what it is. But I can tell you it's not a normal. There's reaction, saliva. As the eggs, these eggs came out and were pretty wrinkly from the word go, from the time they came out of the mother. And then they'll sink in as well when they get close to hatch time. That's kind of as the eggshell is no longer, basically trying to signal the baby it's time to start looking at coming out. We don't want the egg to stay viable forever, it'll just set in there.
Have you ever cut yourself while cutting the eggs?
No, I haven't. I would much rather cut me than a snake, though. And I'm all shaky because I'm always shaky. Oh, look at that. That's pretty, too.
You going to say hi, Kurt? Give a shout out?
Mm-hmm.
There's movement in there. Looking good. Kurt, need to say hi to somebody?
No.
Yeah, people are asking Kurt to say hi, and he's here.
They're asking you to say hi and you won't say hi? Now he's shaking his head no. Guy's terrible, I tell you.
He's kind of shy, people. If you yell a little louder, he might speak up. Hey, the shirt was received.
Awesome! They were supposed to both arrive today, so I'm glad at least one of them made it. Maybe they both did. That'd be awesome.
Kurt has some serious followers. Kurt, you need to speak up more.
It's okay.
Nobody asked for question, girl. They want Kurt and Matt.
That's a pretty snake, too. See that little bit of movement? It's a good sign. Okay, one more, and so far I don't see anything that I think is a Mystic Potion, which is slightly disappointing, but again, if all 5 of these end up being alive, I'll be happy. That one I was worried about from the moment it was laid. It went a while. I was pretty happy about that.
Can you repeat the pairing again for people who are
tuning in?
Yeah.
The pairing was a Mystic to a Mojave.
Ireland is tuning in as well.
Ireland?
Yeah.
That's awesome. You guys got some good beer over there in Guinness. Probably got better beers than that. That's when I go over here in America. And this one's also not going to be a Mystic Potion. That one's probably going to be a normal. Well, maybe not. No, I don't think it's going to be a normal. Anyway. Well,
what are the odds for the Mystic Potion in this pairing?
it is 1 in 4, which means we really got just odds hosed on this. But, again, it sucks I didn't hit the Mystic Potion. And it really sucks that I had an egg fail. You're going to have that, guys. And it puts a damper, for me, emotionally, on this whole clutch that we had that one failure. And that honestly means that we've gone through 16 eggs now this year. Out of 16 eggs, we've had 15 live babies. That's pretty good. But it's not good enough. I want 16 out of 16, 75 out of 75. And I know that that's not going to be something I'm going to achieve. It's just not. And I understand that. But anytime one doesn't make it, that that developed that far that I feel like had a chance, you always question yourself a little bit. And that's probably one of the hardest things in this hobby for me. But it's also one of the things that always pushes me to wonder, what could I have done different? Could I be better? Could I get that success rate higher? And that kind of thing. And I guess that just comes from who I am. But what I want you guys to know, for those of you who are just getting into this, is sometimes this is a reality. And if you're going to breed these, you've got to be okay with that being a reality. It doesn't mean you have to like it. I don't like it. But you're going to have to accept that you're going to have ones that aren't going to make it. It's no different than anything. Reptiles, like if you look at, tortoises, they have a lot of babies, and the plan for reptiles is not all of them are going to survive. Our goal by artificial incubation is to have a higher survival rate than what nature would have, and it sucks when we lose one. But we typically run about 85 to 90%. I think last time I checked what our percentages have been, and my goal is to push that up to about 95%. And I think we can get there. I think it's achievable, but it's hard. So, and even at 95%, I'm still going to be upset about that, that 1 in 20 I lose. So, all right, do we have any comments or questions?
Yeah, people have asked, where do they go to get shirts?
Where do they go to get shirts? Contact me on Facebook. Right now, all we have is extra larges. They run about $20 plus actual shipping cost, which isn't very much. So, and that's really not a lot more than what our cost is to have them made. And if we have enough interest, we need to have some more made, I can always do that. I think it's pretty cool you guys like those. The guys that want them for free, congratulations. Wear them with pride. I know I love mine. So that's kind of where we're at on that.
What temperature did you incubate your eggs at?
We incubate at between 89 and 90 degrees. Speaking of that, do you want to put these back in the cooker for me, dear? Thank you. And we also try to keep our humidity as high as possible. I prefer it to be definitely above 90. I personally like it to be 99. And that tub has kept between 95 and 99% humidity the entire time. So I don't think humidity is a result of this egg. I really don't. This egg, I think, is a result of a new mom who had a very small egg. I mean, if you look at this in the size of my hand, python eggs are typically bigger than chicken eggs, and this is smaller than most chicken eggs by far. If it survived, I was planning on about a 25-gram snake at best. So I think it's mostly just due to that. And I don't know if there's a lot else I could have done on that one, but such is life. So.
What's your most anticipated clutch this year?
Well, I tell you what, I've got several clutches I'm anticipating. There's 2 clutches that we won't cut live because of what that project is, and I kind of want to keep that under my hat until we see if we hit it. The most anticipated clutch for me of the year, and this is one I do plan on cutting live, is my Xanthic spider to my pastel head Xanthic. We got 9 eggs out of that. And as all of you know that follow this channel, I've mentioned several times that zebra bees for me are one of the snakes that really started my drive for ball pythons. And that has a 1 in 8 odds on a zebra bee. So that's one we're really going to focus on and really hope for the best on and see if we can't hit a zebra bee. So, anything else?
People are asking if we're going to branch out into other snakes besides ball pythons, like reticulated pythons or blood pythons. Or...
Well, it's funny you asked that, because yes, but I don't know about those. You know, the shop that we own part of, we may do some retics and things there. It all kind of depends on the size we get to. We have some plans here in our little basement room to do some carpet pythons. We actually bred carpet pythons last year, and we had a female go grab it. I only had one female. And then fortunately, she went egg bound and I lost her. You know, we went to the vet college here, had her worked on, but it just wasn't going to happen. She was an older snake. It was her first time ever breeding. She was probably about 15 years old. So it was extremely sad, but that's also part of this business. Egg binding happens. It sucks and it's rare, but it's terrible. I do have another female carpet I'm raising up, so I do plan on doing carpets. We've talked about doing green tree pythons, and camera guy Kurt has this weird love of blood pythons. So one day we may do some bloods, even though they're cranky and large, but that's what he really wants to do sometimes. So we may do some bloods as well. Anything else?
People are asking if we have snakes for sale yet, and if so, where they can find them at.
The best place to follow up that would be on our Facebook, and we've had some inquiries, but we haven't taken any holds on anything just yet. I know some people have said, "Hey, I want this and this," and we haven't set anything up technically for sale. And here's the reason. Honestly, before I put these for sale, they need to eat 3 times on their own and weigh at least 80 grams. Every one of these will weigh 80 grams with 3 meals. They all came out nice weight, but we haven't even attempted to feed them yet. They've been living off their egg yolk till their first shed. They just finished shedding out yesterday, and we'll try to feed tomorrow. So once I get 3 meals in these, and I know they're all eating fine on their own and they're all healthy, then we'll have those available for sale. We also are currently looking to see the best way to ship for us would be, and when I mean the best way to ship for us, it means the best way economically for the customer, because shipping is rather expensive in reptiles by the time you buy the equipment and then you pay the label fees. So we're working on finding the best quotes for that to make it the best for you guys. But I'm excited that we get that much interest. One quick question I have for you guys, and it'll be a little bit gross, but if you want to see it, we'll do it, is if you want to see how the inside of this egg that died is, I need to remove that hatchling to feed off anyway. So if it's something you're curious about, we can cut that shell away and let you take a peek. But somebody's got to say, "Ew, no, squeamish," or "Yeah, let's do that." Nobody wants to do that? Yeah? Question girl says yes. Kurt's saying no. Which one is it, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, we're opening the egg. And if you guys have questions, please feel free to ask. And like I say, the only reason I'm doing this is, 1, so you can see where it died at in development and how these hatchlings look while they're developing. And 2 is I don't want to waste anything that had a potential life, including this. So we're going to use it as nourishment for the gator. We've caught a little bit of flack over the time for people thinking all we do is feed our gator live food. That just tends to be what we film. He's eaten a few of these type of hatchlings before that don't make it. He's also eaten a lot of raw chicken. He also, every now and then, will have a ball python leave a rodent in a tub. He's eaten that.
And this is to the Robinson family who commented, our Wi-Fi signal isn't weak. We are in the middle of a tornado warning and a severe thunderstorm warning here in Kansas. It is Kansas. So because of the severe storms in the area, the internet is probably acting up a little bit. So for that, we apologize. Yeah. Can't help Mother Nature.
And there you can see the yolk on the bottom where it's gone hard. And the egg parts. And this is a baby up top. You can kind of see where it was in development. And that, based on its size, I mean, you can see it died. You know, the egg takes a while to die first, but you can see it really never had a chance. As small as it is, its spine is still kinked up pretty bad. And it's way smaller, way less developed than the other babies. So these kind of development things happen. You can see it hadn't even separated all the way through there, I don't believe. No, it had. I take that back. It could straighten out. And that might have straightened out had it gone, but it appears like it has some twisting in there too. So, and look at this too. It appears it would have had a severe underbite. So I think it might have been better that it didn't make it through if it was going to be born shark mouth. And again, I think a lot of that comes on a first-year mom with just a bad egg. So,
Can you tell what morph it would have been?
looking, it's really hard to say. It wouldn't have been a Mystic Potion, I don't think. Boy, wouldn't that have been a kick in the balls. But, and that's because it has a lot of dark patterning on it. But I do not believe it would have been a normal either. It probably would have been, either a Mystic or a Mojave. And they look pretty similar, at this stage, so it's really hard to tell. But I don't believe it would have been a normal. And it had some really cool patterning down here. But it's got more pattern than I would expect to see in a Mystic Potion. And the color is really the last thing to come into these as they're developing. Even a little bit after their first shed, or before their first shed, they don't get their full color. If you compare, like this guy, to our video, you can see a complete difference in the color. So the color is still coming in even until that first shed, really. And I think after a ball python's first shed is when it looks probably the best it's going to look. The best example of that, I think I have, is probably this spider. It just looks unreal. I mean, if you look on the back of it, how yellow it is, it's just gorgeous. And that's probably the best looking that spider will ever be. And that's just typical for snakes after their first shed. All right, any more questions?
How long have you been working on the zebra bee?
Since the very beginning. It was what got me into ball pythons, I think I've told the story. I got a carpet python, and then I started doing more research and find all this ball python information. And with that information, I really fell in love with a lot of the color morphs. So I fell in love with the zebra bee and the killer zebra bee. But at the time, the killer zebras were about $7 to $12,000, I think, and there was no way I was going to pay that. So I decided I wanted to make a zebra bee and then maybe eventually a killer zebra bee, and that's kind of when it started. And that was probably about 5 years ago. And last year we had a shot at a zebra bee. And I always talk about disappointment being a learning experience in this. And I'm getting an eye roll at Question Girl because she feels like I'm going to pick on her, even though I'm not. I wasn't even upset about this. But I was out of state when my pastel exanthic had eggs. And they were set up in incubation. And it was the first time they'd ever set up incubation. Because I was gone. So I'm the one that does that. And the tub was a little bit tight and allowed moisture to get on the eggs, and it just killed the clutch. And we lost that entire clutch last year. But that's a learning experience, just like the first clutch that I talked about losing my first time. So, now I know that's not going to happen again. And this year we have those set up, and all 9 eggs are doing good. As a matter of fact, if you guys want, we can turn the lights off and candle them really quick. I'll show those to you. Yay? Nay? Kurt, you're laughing? Do we candle them or no?
We can do it in a different video.
Different video? Okay. Don't matter to me. They're probably about a month away from hatching anyway, so you really can't see pattern yet. All right. Anything else we got? We got some chuckles going on.
People are wanting to see them
Yeah,
candle.
they're flooding in. Give the people what they want.
They want to see them candled. Pull them out. You know which number it is, dear?
Which one?
Well, you have to look on the labels there. It'll probably
Who
be.
am I pulling out?
It's going to be Pandora's. It's number 6.
Okay.
It's going to get a little dark in here.
Well,
use my
are
flashlight.
all the boxes labeled?
Those eggs are labeled 6
That's right.
On the eggs.
on the eggs. I think the box may be labeled 2.
No Popeyes today?
No Popeyes today, Actually, I Question Girl made me some really nice meatball subs using chicken meatballs because she apparently thinks I'm fat or something. I don't know. Could probably stand to lose 5 or 10 pounds eating healthy, but we'll see. Actually, she just likes to make healthy food. It's not because she thinks I'm fat.
I was going to say, you're fine the way you are.
Aw, hear how sweet she is. I'm fine the way I am. So yeah, no Popeyes today, but if you hit me back up tomorrow, there's a good chance this Popeyes are who hot, because that tends to be what I do on feed days. We moved our feed day to Friday because of my new hours of work. Did you find them yet, dear?
Yeah.
It's good, because people probably want to hear about my work life. All right, set those up here. We're going to kill a few of these lights. Are you going to kill those lights, dear?
Yeah.
Can you get that one, Kurt? Or Aaron, over here? Alright, so these are the eggs. This one just got some dirt on it. Don't worry about that. And if we have a candle, you can see it'll look like a nice road map in there. You can see that thing moving around. There's movement in that one. Movement going on in that one. Movement there. And well, that was setting low, so I'm not seeing movement. But you can see how big and thick and beautiful those veins are. That one's crawling around. So I have very high hopes for these eggs. You can see that one running around. So I got very high hopes for these, and like I say, these are kind of a culmination to a 4-year project. So that's pretty important to me. Right in here. Yeah, we're still good and moist. You want to slide that back in?
Yeah.
Alright guys, I probably won't offer to do anything else crazy this video because Kurt's probably getting tired of holding that camera. Thanks for watching, thanks for coming on our journey, and for those of you that are still with us after all this, I hope you understand why we want to film these live now, and why I feel it's important to share not only the good and the success, but also the heartbreak. I know when I was getting into this, nobody was showing that. Nobody shared that. You may find the occasional picture with a question online, and when my first clutch went downhill, I personally felt like, I felt like a huge failure. It was a kick in the guts for me, and it was actually a fairly difficult time, because one thing I don't like doing is failing. And it was really Question Girl that kind of pulled me up by my bootstraps and kind of made me get with the program and keep plunking away when I was about ready to give up. So it's something that I want you to understand happens, and it's something that's going to happen to you if you're in this business for a long time. You're going to lose a clutch, and you're going to lose the occasional baby, and it's going to hurt, And if it doesn't hurt to lose a baby, you're in the wrong business, okay? It's going to hurt, but all the successes should be what keeps you going. Not to focus on the failures. Learn from the failures when there's something to be learned. And sometimes there is, and sometimes there isn't. And keep moving forward with your dreams. But I wanted to share both sides, the good and the bad, with you, so you can see it all from us, since nobody seemed to be doing that before. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We'll update you on how those babies do. Hopefully the other 5 come out of the egg here in a few days and do wonderful. Thanks for watching.